Hi everybody, this is Jen from Cookies, Cupcakes, and Cardio.com. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make a new cake recipe, devil's food cake, and we're going to be dressing them up like little devils. It's devilishly delicious. Let's get started. We're going to go over the ingredients needed for the devil's food cake cupcakes, and then we'll tell you the ingredients for the decorating after we've baked these. So we're going to be using 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour, 1 cup of granulated sugar, half a cup of water, and when we use it, it will need to be boiling. 1 tablespoon of vanilla extract, 2 eggs, and then in here we've got half a teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon of baking powder, and half a teaspoon of baking soda, half a cup of sour cream, half a cup of cocoa powder, and 3/4 of a cup of just softened butter. In a medium-sized bowl, I have put the cocoa powder, and I'm going to take my boiling water and, be careful because it's hot, I'm just going to put it into my cocoa powder, and then using a whisk, I'm going to whisk it together. I've whisked the 2 ingredients together, and now I'm going to add the sour cream, and I'm going to continue to whisk that up, and then we'll have a nice chocolatey, creamy mixture, which we will be adding to the cake in a little bit. I've put the chocolate mixture aside, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put my baking soda, baking powder, and salt into my flour mixture, and I'm just going to whisk that up as well, and then I'm going to put that aside as well with the chocolate. So I've switched to my stand mixer now, and in the bowl I have some butter, and I'm going to quickly whisk that or mix that up. And then I'm going to add the granulated sugar, and then I'm going to just let it cream and get nice and light and fluffy. Now that the butter and sugar is mixed together, I'm going to put my mixer onto low, and then I'm going to add my vanilla and my eggs one at a time. Now that I have all my wet ingredients in my bowl here, I'm going to add half my flour mixture and then half of my chocolate mixture that I previously had set aside. And then I'm going to mix it together, and then I will add the rest of it in that same pattern, adding in the flour and then adding in the chocolate. Now to put in the final amounts here. So what a devil's food cake is just a really thick, delicious chocolate cake. And it's just a little bit fudgier than like a normal chocolate cake you might find. So that's why it's called a devil's food one, I guess because it's devilly delicious. So mix this up and it will be all ready. Now that my batter's ready to go, I've got my cupcake pan lined with liners, and I'm just going to take my cupcake scoop and scoop it into the little liners here. So I'm putting about 3/4 worth of the batter into, or 3/4 worth into each of these liners, and I'm going to bake them at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for 20 minutes. And this is going to make approximately 20 to 22 cupcakes. Here in front of me are the ingredients for decorating the cupcakes. So what I'm going to be using is 1 pound of the red melting wafers, a little bit of black fondant. I've got a 1/4 cup of vegetable shortening that we're going to be melting to a liquid. I have buttercream black in a piping bag, and I have cherry pie filling. So what I have in front of me now is called a cupcake corer. Now this is one of tools that I have a love-hate relationship with. When they work, it's awesome, but when they don't work, it's no easier than using a knife. So don't feel that this is something that you need to go and buy, but I'm going to show you how to use this. Hopefully it works. And we're going to fill our cupcakes with cherry pie filling, which is obviously unnecessary, but we want to up the gore factor because it's Halloween, and we're going to put this inside the cupcake. So to use this, I just press down in the center, press it down like that, pull up, and then it pops out the top. So it worked for that time, so that's great. And I'm going to take a little bit of the cherry pie filling and just put it inside the cupcake here. And then for the top, I'm just going to slice that off and then put it back on top like that. So I'm going to do a couple more of those so they're ready for the icing. So to get the effect of the red top to the devil cupcakes, I'm going to try to pipe it nice and high. So what I'm going to do is I'm just squeezing here to build up in the center, and then I'm going to go around the outside and just gradually work around that centerpiece until I get up to the top, as high as I can get it, like that. Just going to keep on going. And then the important thing at this point is you want to put these into the fridge so that they can solidify, so that when they get dipped into the chocolate coating, the icing doesn't fall into the chocolate coating. And I did make that mistake, so make sure that you put them in the fridge. Can't shortcut on that one. So to make the red chocolate coating on the cupcakes, I need to melt my melting wafers, and I'm going to do that at 30-second intervals at 50% power in the microwave. And after those are melted, I'm going to melt my vegetable shortening, and I'll just use that at like regular temperature, probably for about 30 seconds to a minute until it's completely liquefied. So I'm going to melt both, and I'll be back to show you the next step. My red candy melts are melted, and now as well as my shortening is. So I'm going to pour about half of this shortening into my candy melt mix. And what this is going to do is it's going to thin my candy melts. So if you have problems when you're dipping like cake pops and you need your chocolate to be thinner, this is a really good tip in order to get thinner chocolate. And this is kind of necessary for dipping the buttercream into here. You just want it to be thin enough that it makes a coat, or thin enough that it doesn't cause any problems, but you don't want it to be too thick that you can't get the icing out once you've got the icing in here. So we're going to stir this up, and I think I've got enough in there. It's pretty runny. And if you want to play with your amounts, you can make it runnier by adding more, or you can just leave it a little bit thicker by not putting as much in. So to dip the cupcakes, you want to do it rather quickly. So I just got a firm grasp on it here, and I'm just going to turn it upside down, put it into the chocolate, pull it straight out, and let it run off a little bit. And then it will set up really nicely, and just leave it here to dry. So I'm going to do a couple more, and then I'll show you the next step. So I'm going to make the horns of my devil now. So I've got little pea-sized balls of fondant here, and I'm just going to take them in between my hands and just roll them into a nice little ball. And then I'm just going to shape it and just pull it, just pulling it to a point here. And then I'm going to curve it slightly just to make it look like a devil horn, just like that. The last step for the devils is to take your horns and the wide end, just dip it into your melted chocolate, and then you're just going to press it onto the side, just like that. So you're going to have to do that for both of them, and you're going to have to hold it for a couple of seconds just to make sure it's able to stick there. So I'll repeat that on the other side. So there you go, everybody, how to make devil's food cake, devil cupcakes. And I've sliced into one so you can see the gory cherry center in our devil's food cake. Thanks for watching, everybody. Now you guys have gotten to see me in my costume, so leave me a note below that tells me what you are going to dress up for Halloween if you participate in it. I can't wait to hear about all of your costumes. Thanks for watching, and remember to subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you all again next time.